Hello, everyone. Thank you for checking out this episode of Really Dicey. I'm here with Matt John, one of the writers for Conan Exiles, a sourcebook, part of the Conan line from at Modiphius Entertainment.
Mhm.
Uh, what can you tell us about this? What is exactly Conan Exiles exactly?
Well, Conan Exiles is based on a video game, which is in the sort of survival sandbox genre. We developed Conan the Exiles Sourcebook to sort of emulate the video game, and we wanted to get kind of a hex crawl feel in there, so you could have an exploration, you could have survival elements, you could have stronghold building. So all of the elements that sort of were mechanical in the video game, we kind of adapted for
Oh,
for the RPG. So there's things in there that you wouldn't find in the regular books, and we kind of saved them for the Exiles book.
what information is in there for players? Are there new occupations, skills, things like that?
Yeah. So again, it was all stuff that we thought, to emulate the game, but also to bring in new mechanics that we hadn't done before. So a lot of the stuff I wrote was the lore from the FunCon game, and so I actually had to I chatted with Joel Bylos from FunCon. We had a meeting there where he kind of shared a few secrets with me, and then I went to work just kind of using the setting. Now GMs don't need to use that setting at all; they can just use the mechanics. But if you want to have that sort of flavor from the game, which Funcom did a really great job of adding different elements to the Conan mythos. So that was actually a lot of fun. There's some interesting elements in the game where you can summon avatars, which are kind of like manifestations of Hyborian Age gods. So we created gameplay for that, essentially how you would do it, building shrines, essentially casting spells that would allow you to summon these things. We have a chapter on survival. So rather than just, the basic sort of checks, goes a little deeper into survival gameplay. Makes it more of a mechanical focus on the survival. You have settlements and strongholds, which again is like a means to kind of build up your own base, but also conquer others. It's a brutal setting, and we kind of really focused on the harshness of the exiled lands. Which, again, are they a weird pocket in the Hyborian Age? Are they, some other dimension? Are you within a sorcerer's stone? Like, who knows what's going on? Then we have a threats chapter. I wrote a lot of the descriptions on that, which are, again, we're adapting specific beasts from the game that have not existed in other Conan stories. And then we have an Adventures in Exile chapter. And fun fact, there was even another piece that got sort of removed from the book just for the sake of length, which was based on the Keystone campaign. So again, the lore in the video game has you're basically bound to the land through a bracelet. And there's some things going on with like Thothamon. And so if you want to escape, you have to kind of do a big fetch quest to get your way out of there. And so I wrote basically how they would do that and how a GM would facilitate that kind of line, keeping in, theme with the video game. But that got removed, but I think it's going to be released online in a little series of adventures Modiphius is going to do called Shining Kingdoms.
What are you the most excited about when you were writing this?
I love having the opportunity to just sort of either present a scene or a setting, or to describe a beast. So for me, the fun part was kind of, well, in some ways, when your homework is to play a video game, that's not bad. Digging into the lore and the setting that Funcom built, that was a joy, because they really riffed on Howard in a way that lends itself to survival gameplay, but with keeping on theme, describing the beasts and the gods. I mean, that kind of stuff is just, you could pay me or not pay me, and I would have fun doing it. That sort of flavor text writing was the most fun. That, and of course, too, working with the other guys and figuring out like what is this book, right? And making it something that is a little different, and you really don't need to have played the video game at all. And in fact, I've read a few reviews where people just kind of came into it and used the mechanics and the framework of the book, and it kind of creates that new spin on, for particular kinds of campaigns, right?
So, what is next for you? What are you currently working on now?
What am I working on? I can't get away from Conan. Sometimes I feel like every time I think for a second I might be getting tired of it, some new opportunity comes up and I jump in and I take up more work. So I just finished off work for Monolith. Well, a few months ago, we polished everything off for the Conan the Conqueror Kickstarter. So if you follow the board game at all, that might be exciting. We created a huge text for that, a very text-heavy book with tons of scenarios, new game modes, called the Tome of Skelos, and that'll be with anyone who has purchased the Conan the Conqueror. So that was a huge project. I worked on that with Ken Meary and Dan Morick to craft those scenarios mostly. And with that behind me, I finished another. I'm kind of like crossover guy for Conan here. So I did the Monolith Sourcebook. Most of that, I worked on this Exile Sourcebook, and I also wrote a scenario for the Tower of the Elephant game, which I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was a board game on Kickstarter. Looks great. That's shipping now, I think. So I finished that off. And then what I just finished doing and is in playtesting are scenarios for the Conan board game again, but it's their bonus scenarios we're releasing for the 3 main expansions.
Is there anything in the Conan universe, anything in the Conan's history that you would like to write on that you haven't done so yet?
As far as Conan, I mean, I would keep going, but what I kind of want to see, and this is something I feel like we may in the nearest future, is I want to see explorations outside of Conan. Now, I know he's going to be he's the household name, and it's going to be what you're selling. I mean, literally, you're selling the Conan. But I would love to see more stories exploring other characters, maybe ones from Howard or just brand new constructions. And that's something that I really liked about Conan Exiles too, was that you actually weren't playing as Conan. You were creating your own Hyborian Age character and kind of carving your own path, which is exciting. So, I'd like to play around with something like that.
Okay. So, one last question. Um, why do you think that Conan has such long appeal? Why do you think, what, almost 100 years now
Yeah,
since it's been created? Why do you think that even that he still has such a strong, loyal fan base?
that's a good question. And it's a bit of a diverse fan base too, right? Like there's you get your sword and sorcery fans who are, just kind of into, they're into that genre. And then you got your Arnold fans, and then you've got your comic book fans, and then you've got your Howard literature fans, and then you got people who've seen random smatterings of things, right? But I think when you boil it down, in some ways it appeals to, I suppose, it's a bit of a power fantasy, right? Like, we like superheroes who are physically capable. Not that Conan's a superhero, for the record, but someone who carves their own way, strong-willed, strong of body, takes no crap, goes from, a thief on the street to becoming a king. And he's, portrayed as indomitable. Like, this is a guy who will get his skin peeled off by a demon fight the thing back and live to fight another day, that's just exciting. And if you think of sword and sorcery or pulp tales like these as a offshoot of more broad fantasy, Conan is sort of the big dog of more of an edgy or a darker, less Lord of the Rings, let's go on a quest kind of vibe, right? Conan is, he's I don't like to call it dark fantasy because it's not really, but it has that weird element, horror mixed in with like, and it's written kind of historically as well. Like you could take the weird elements out and Howard's writing a historical adventure tale, right? But the way he puts them in there, the world feels lived in, not silly, and the horror and weird is sprinkled in. And I think that was unique, and other authors came in and aped it later, but I feel like for the diehards, the ones who are truly into the Howard tales, that's the big appeal. You've got this killing machine in the middle of these cool settings, where you've got Lovecraftian gods and creatures from the outer dark, prehistoric beasts. It's not a world of elves and any of this folktale fairy tale business, right?
You have a podcast as well, right?
I do. I am one of the hosts of the Rogues in the House podcast. You can find that where all podcasts stream, pretty much. I do that with Alex and Logan. We discuss everything from, the real focus is sword and sorcery as a genre in a pop cultural context. So as much as we do cover literature, we're kind of like, we'll dig into the bargain bin and pull out the Red Sonja movie, and we will dive deep into that. So we cover our favorite things, but also the things where we're kind of like, yeah, this is kind of terrible, but it also has redeeming qualities. So check that out. If you're a Conan fan, I would imagine you will find something to dig there. We've reviewed all 3 films at this point. And I think we did a Conan Exiles episode too. So there's tons of material there. If you're a podcast listener, do check out Rogues in the House, and you can like our Facebook page as well. If you,
Excellent.
You do that whole thing.
I'll put the link in the description below. Go ahead.
Yeah, one more thing would be if you play the Conan RPG or the board game, and you're not in Conan Gaming Group on Facebook, you should join us there. We're a friendly group. We keep it non-toxic. We lop the heads off anyone who tries to hurt our little oasis in fandom. So that would be a good spot too. If you're into this whole thing, I would imagine it would be an inviting place for you.
Indeed, that's how we got acquainted.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us about Conan Exiles and all things Conan, and which, by the way, viewers, you should check it out. The printed version is out now, and of course, you can get the PDF that's available on Drive-Thru and other places. Yeah. So yes,
Exiles. I think the print version is. I don't think you can get it unless you're a backer just yet. So I think it's shipped out to backers, but will be released into retail. I think they're going to drip feed them out a little. I saw they just released some card decks, which I think was their first or one of their first Wave 3 releases. Anyways, it will be coming, and we'll let you know when.
Oh, excellent. Thank you for letting us know.
Yeah.
And to our viewers, take care and have a good night.